let's take a look ahead to this Saturday from World Wrestling Entertainment. WWE presents WrestlePalooza, an absolutely long planned out, not thrown together for AEW all-out purposes or anything like that, on ESPN, a deal that was supposed to start in January, but you know what? We're just feeling like we're in a given mood. Let's start it in September. Maybe not, but still, this is the problem. God, I feel like such a hypocrite because I think it's insane that they're counter-programming AEW right now. AEW has their own issues. AEW has kind of been getting in AEW's way without you causing the problems. Now you kind of just seem like the assholes. But it's also working, you know? And we talk about, like, Brock Lesnar. Didn't need him back. Hate that he is back. Still hate that he is back. But there's no question he adds star power to this. And having Brock Lesnar against John Cena at the top of a card makes it feel like a big deal, you know? And then WWE announces this weekend that they are taking WrestleMania to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 2027. And that feels gross for a number of reasons that we have discussed here previously. And all the talk of sellouts and this, that, and the other thing. But still, it feels like the bigger deal. And they are on a roll. And aside from that asshole at the top of the card, this still feels like a show that I'm very excited for. So, again, I wish there was more of a moral high ground I could stand on in that this will not do and blah, 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 blah. They're still the number one wrestling promotion in the world, and they are really still clicking, even if you disagree with a lot of the decisions that they make. And so I kind of hate myself for all of it, but here we are. That's the emotion we want with this one. When you look at right now, this card is stacked, right? Like even the Brock Lesnar thing, I can't stand that he is back. I don't think he is necessary. Again, though, you cannot argue his star power. But even if you just chop that one off the Wikipedia page, still, AJ Lee and CM Punk against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, they have hit it out of the park on this build so far. I can't wait to see what we get on Monday. And they have absolutely killed this one. We get a Usos reunion as they go into a bit of a dream match with a couple up-and-coming stars in Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And we get a dream match in the women's division with Io Sky against Stephanie Vaquer. So, like, this is a massive, massive card and just a fantastically put together show from the WWE. And you know they're going to go all out. It is the debut on ESPN. So I am very curious to see the types of bells and whistles that we get on this program, similar to the ones that we were expecting on Netflix and everything like that. So I'm interested to see just what it looks like, what it feels like, how everything is going, and then what type of a big moment we get on this show. Because I am assuming we're going to get some type of a big moment to exit the show with. I just don't know what that's going to be. So I'm very interested to see what they are doing. And talking about it before, about how it felt like when they started this, I do think that they were kind of getting in their own way creatively when they were doing the counter programming to start, right? Like it was, we're going to put a Saturday Night's Main Event on at the same time as an AEW show. And then AEW moves it. Oh, okay, well, we're going to put NXT on. And now NXT has absolutely been cannon fodder in this. They have been torched with a number of different things that they are being called upon to do. But we have also seen, like, the Evolution show gets thrown in to just kind of round out a weekend and a number of different counter-programming things. But now that they have kind of established that this is the direction they're going, instead of just, fuck it, this thing, let's go. Now that they have actually settled into this is what we are doing, it has allowed them to get a creative timeline, and it does feel like they are rolling, and it does kind of feel like it's working. And I hate it, but it feels like it's working. There is, and we'll talk about it in a second, there is no buzz for AEW this weekend. Like, zilch, nada, none around AEW. And so they've taken all of that away. And it feels like now creatively, because before we got CM Punk and Gunther get to cut 2 promos and that's it for SummerSlam. Like that felt rushed. This doesn't. This feels like Punk and AJ together against Becky and Seth, that has been established very, very effectively. Stephanie Vaquer and Io, we've almost waited too long to get. Drew against Cody. Didn't even mention that. Drew against Cody. They set that up really well a while ago. And Brock Cena, they set that one up a while ago. They have now kind of mastered the storytelling arcs of a lot of these and built them up into a really effective way for this, where it's not all just thrown together and we're not just doing a bunch of shows just to do a bunch of shows because the other guys are doing a bunch of shows. This now feels like they have really hit their stride for these ones. The one issue I have with it creatively is it feels like there has been so much of the focus on like the star power of everything that I think it has significantly hindered what's been going on in the mid-card. Like, there's nothing happening mid-card-wise on SmackDown right now. And the Raw one is feeling very, like, if you're not part of the Vision story, and if you're not in the, like, kind of Io, Rhea orbit, it doesn't feel like there's a lot for you right now. Even with Penta and the New Day and all of that, like, that feels very pushed down and very kind of afterthoughty right now. So they have... I think they have done some damage to the mid-card, where it felt like a strength of this company a little bit ago. It now feels like it is kind of a secondary, if not tertiary thing right now with them. But overall, like, aside from the obvious, how can you not be excited about what we could see WrestlePalooza-wise this weekend? And I have no doubt that WWE is going to go very WWE in looking for a big moment coming out of Saturday's WrestlePalooza. A reminder that for wrestling fans, like, we are 2 hours and 14 minutes into the stream here today. And I understand not every wrestling fan wants to sit through 2 hours of football talk before they get to their wrestling. So we've created Living Room Lariats. It is the wrestling podcast from Couch Potato Diary, where all the wrestling content is going to live. You still get it on Couch Potato Diary, but if you just want the wrestling, it comes to you with Living Room Lariats, plus some bonus stuff you're not going to get on Couch Potato as well. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts. A couple notes here from Tall John in the chat. The 4 major WWE events should be in Canada or the US. It's North America that made WWE what it is. It is great that they can go overseas with the PLE, but the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series should be in Canada. It allows for their core fan base to make the major event with a little financial hardship of the long flight. And then R-Truth and Ron Cena is always a spotlight, good or bad, LOL. Yes, no, I mean, that's... but look, I mean, we talked about it before, just to kind of put a bow on that kind of thought. That was one, right, where we're doing the counter-programming thing. Okay, let's just give this a couple weeks, and now, oh, people really like R-Truth, so now let's give it a couple more weeks. But now it's kind of an afterthought, right? So that was another part where WWE was just throwing a bunch of stuff to try to counter-program AEW, and it felt like it kind of hindered the John Cena thing and the R-Truth story a little bit, where there was a little bit more meat on that bone, but we had to hit X, Y, and Z for this, and it just wasn't going to work. So that's one that felt like, well, it's always a spotlight, like you said. It never did really feel like it reached its full potential. On the where should the big shows thing be, for the most part, I would agree that having the big 4 be kind of North America bound, I do think makes a lot of sense. Obviously, like, 92 SummerSlam in England is always going to be kind of a gold standard for an international event. And I do think it is easier now than ever to do a show internationally, right? Like, the time's never really going to add up to do one in Japan, but if you, like, the Paris shows, we've all been able to watch it fine. And I've kind of loved when they go overseas and all of a sudden Raw's at noon. Love that. Absolutely love that. And so I do think that if you wanted to do one of them in a place a year, I think that does make sense. It's just the obvious with Saudi Arabia, with all of the concerns about the human rights violations that are happening there and everything that goes along with it. But, like, for the most part, I agree. Like, this is a North American company, and it is one where that is the majority of your base. But I do think expanding that a bit, if you wanted to have one of them be international a year, I think that makes actually a lot of sense in my opinion. The European fans are awesome to listen to, but that's just part of their culture too. Oh, they got the chants down. Like, North America, I shouldn't lump in Mexico here, but the States specifically, they steal a lot of the chance, and they kind of make them worse every time. So it's good to go back to Europe and just kind of get the refresh. Oh, right, this is what it's supposed to sound like, and go with them there. And I do think you've established that you have a rabid fan base out there. So I think that they have showed that they can probably expand beyond what they have been doing in those venues. But I do think that that's going to have to be with a bigger show, like a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series or SummerSlam or something along those lines. The one thing that's in the back of my mind here with WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia is WWE now is very focused on site fees, right? Like that. It's why John Cena's final match is happening in Washington, D.C. Like, come on, what are we doing? That had to be in Boston. That was the easiest layup ever, is that happening in Boston. But Boston couldn't pay enough. So now John Cena's last match in Boston is happening in November, I believe. So WWE is focused on that. And I feel like this could be setting a standard that not many other places can reach. Right? With WrestleMania, they already pulled it out of New Orleans to go to Vegas for this upcoming year because they are based in Vegas, and Vegas is probably paying a pretty penny to get that. And so now, I sure as hell don't think New Orleans can compete with whatever the Saudis are going to pay for WrestleMania, right? So I think that there is a world where WrestleMania almost becomes exclusive to either Saudi Arabia or Vegas, because Vegas is the home base for TKO, and casinos and everything out there and hotels are going to pay a lot for WWE to come in at what is a relative downtime in Las Vegas, although everything in Vegas right now is at a downtime for reasons. But those are two places that can pay a lot to bring WrestleMania in. And so I have a real worry that it's going to basically just bounce between a couple places because no one else is going to be able to afford what those places can do. And we've already seen that's a real focus of WWE. It's not just going to be, well, we want to bring the experience of WrestleMania to wherever, right? They're not going to be able to justify it in their minds. They're not going to be able to justify turning down whatever the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is going to offer them just to be able to bring it to name a place. The ballpark I'm blanking on what they call it now. The ballpark in Seattle, right? Or the Rogers Center or Rogers Stadium, the weird concert thingy that they've set up there now. Or Vancouver, right? Like, it is going to be very difficult for all these places to reach that bar that all of these countries, or that Saudi Arabia now specifically, is going to set. And given how WWE and TKO operate, it's going to be really tough for TKO to turn that down as well. So I think this is going to be a much more regular occurrence now than I think anyone really realizes. WWE going to Saudi Arabia for not just Crown Jewel or anything like that, but for these big time events.